So, Stephen, you're saying your starting point was to get rid of the coal cap, but not give anything in return from your point of view.
Well, the coal cap is legislated to end on the 30th of June next year, and I think most people would agree it's done little or nothing to put any downward pressure on electricity prices. I mean, coal prices have fallen by 70 or 80% since it was introduced, but electricity bills have continued to rise. So it's clearly not working, and it's bad
Do you
policy,
not accept
and
that they
it
could
should
have
end.
risen further? That was all the data that we were given, and we
Well, I'm yet to see data that specifically says the coal cap did anything. The data I've seen and the data that the federal government has quoted is referring mainly to the gas cap. It doesn't break out the two. No one has yet produced any data to show that the coal cap itself specifically put any downward pressure on electricity prices, because there's probably none. There's probably none that exists. So regardless of that, Laura, it was legislated to end in the middle of next year, and it should end.
The coal caps, from your point of view, have really done nothing.
Well, they've done a lot to disrupt our industry and add additional costs. They've certainly increased the profits of the electricity generators that we've seen over the last few weeks or so have been reporting significantly increased profits because they're paying less for their coal fuel into their coal-fired power stations. But I don't think anybody is seeing any reduction in their electricity bills. We're seeing an increase in the profits of the generators and those also that are retailing. So I wouldn't say they've done nothing, but they've probably done the opposite of what those who cooked up this great idea thought would happen.
Okay, we'll get some questions to the federal MPs responsible for that.
There's a few state MPs as well.
Oh, okay. So who would you ask? Who would you ask about
that? Well, the former Treasurer in New South Wales, he was part of it as well. So in his role as Energy Minister, they all thought this was a great idea at the time. But I think in hindsight, people would be reflecting on whether or not it's actually achieved anything.
Right. So when we look at this, we see, some coal producers reporting a 650% increase in their profits, and we see a 40% increase in coal royalties. Is that a fair kind of comparison to draw there?
Well, I don't think it is. I mean, firstly, when those companies were reporting those increased profits, they were also paying record royalties at the time. Royalties in New South Wales tripled over the last 3 years. When prices went up, their royalty payments went up significantly as well. Those same companies have had to pay the cost and wear the disruption of the coal caps and the associated reservation measures. Coal prices have fallen since those times by 70% or more. Operating costs are increasing for our industry like everybody else, and coal prices are settled at close to normal average levels now. So we're back to business as usual now, and an additional 30% royalty increase, which is paid regardless of whether these companies are making money or not. It's not a profit-based payment, it's paid by volume. That is going to be a big challenge for the industry, especially when prices fall, which they inevitably will. We're a commodity cycle-based industry like agriculture and other resources production industries, and our prices go up and down with global movements, and it's likely to happen again. So It is going to be a challenge, but we do think we should be able to manage it, and it's not as bad as it could have been.
Do you think the government's making the political calculation here that essentially getting more money out of coal companies is pretty popular, and if it does have the effect where coal production is less, they win on the climate change argument?
Well, you'd have to ask them what their political calculations are, but economically, this industry in New South Wales produces our state's most valuable export commodity by far. It underpins our trading relationships. It provides 70% of our energy security. It employs 30,000 people and another 180,000 people indirectly. It sustains regional mining communities across the state. So regardless of what the political calculations may be, there are some significant economic calculations that need to be taken into account as well. And we're at least pleased that the New South Wales government has shown that they've listened to those arguments and have taken those economic issues into account by not doing too much and by not recklessly imposing a Queensland-style system, because, as
Okay.
I said, that would have caused economic havoc.
You're taking it as a win then.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks so much, Stephen. I appreciate your time.